Hello, thank you for watching this video from us here at Cookdown, where we're going to explain to you today our Connection Center products, in particular how it integrates with Cherwell. So let's start with a quick overview of Connection Center. So Connection Center is ultimately all about connecting SCOM to a number of different platforms without using code. So gone are the days of horrible scripts. We connect with ServiceNow, with Slack Teams, also obviously with Cherwell, which is the subject of this video, and basically with anywhere you like using webhooks. So really important things to mention or to re-emphasize essentially is that no real code is required here. So no longer do you need to fiddle with horrible PowerShell scripts to get data into and out of SCOM. Really useful. Join us here at Cookdown in the no-code revolution. We will make your life so much easier. We understand that to make SCOM the single source of truth, you need to get data into it and pull data out of it really easily. So let's look at specifically what we do for Cherwell. So it's a bidirectional integration that we make that focuses on creating incidents from alerts. So as SCOM alerts are raised, we push those across to ServiceNow in the form of incidents. You can choose which SCOM alerts are sent across based on granular criteria. Those incidents are then raised in Cherwell, and then bits of information relating to those incidents is pulled back through into SCOM. Things like the incident ID, who the owner is, the CI, the team, and the state are pulled back through into SCOM, so you don't have to flick between multiple systems. SCOM can continue to be the single source of truth about what's going on there. Obviously, over the incident's life, it's going to get worked on, it's going to get updated, and it's going to get ultimately resolved. And all of that information you will want to see in SCOM with bidirectional sync. And even better, you're going to want to not have to manually close off that SCOM alert. You're going to want to have the SCOM alert closed off for you. And with our integration here with Connection Center, that is all possible. It's also possible to resolve the incident when the SCOM alert is closed off, so you don't have to double touch there as well. Really awesome solution. And obviously we're building this from the perspective of SCOM first. So we understand that in order to close off an alert from, say, a monitor, you have to reset it. And there are different types of monitor and how to handle them differently. So that's essentially the 2-second version of what our Cherwell integration does. Let's now see it in action with a quick demo. Okay, so we're in the SCOM console now, and the first thing you'll see is we're in the administration pane right now, and we're looking at the UI for Connection Center, which is all here. So there are a couple of things you can kind of configure in here. You can choose whether to configure a connection to send alerts somewhere or to pull updates on alerts from somewhere. Also, for some platforms, we support the scheduling of maintenance mode requests. ServiceNow primarily at the moment rather than Cherwell, but this functionality is coming soon to Cherwell as well. And what I've done here is I've created a connection in here by going to add connection over here to Cherwell so that SCOM alerts are being pushed over there. If I go into modify connection, you'll see what sort of settings are in here to configure. So you give your connection a name. I called mine Cherwell 10 because that's the instance name. This is my prod instance, so I might stick prod at the end here. I have my URL, my Cherwell URL. I have my client key, which is required for connection. Also, I've picked the profile that I'm using, which I've associated my run as account with from Cherwell. This profile is created when the RMP is imported, but you can pick whichever one you like. I've enabled the connection. If I had a proxy, I would check this box here to use it and put in its URL as well. I have specified that these are the values of incidents created in Cherwell from this connection. So we're creating services against, we're using the desktop management service against category MISC software, etc. I'm going to tick this one to close alerts when SCOM alert closes as well. Here I have criteria. So this is what specifies which alerts from SCOM are sent over. So you'd have multiple connections for multiple use cases here. And here I'm sending across all the critical ones just for my demo. that are in a non-closed state. This criteria picker is going to be familiar to you because it's what's used in notification subscriptions, essentially, in SCOM natively. My configuration is stored in a created for me management pack, but you can choose to store this config wherever you want. I'm going to save that small change that I made, and while it's doing so, you'll see in the sort of window behind in the main SCOM pane, you see states connected. So we actually monitor the connection with a monitor. So while the test is sort of in progress, any testing is in progress, the state will turn yellow and say testing here. And if all is well, it will say connected. And if there are any issues, you would click view events here and you'd see them. But everything is happy at the moment and it's working fine. So this will push SCOM alerts across. The thing I haven't done is set up an inbound connection to pull updates back from Cherwell. So this is things like the Cherwell incident ID and CI, that kind of thing. I'm going to go and add a connection here for Cherwell. And I'm going to give this a name. My instance is called Cherwell 10. I'm going to call it prod. And I've got my client ID in the clipboard, so I'll paste that one in. I'll just type in my server name, which is Cherwell10.cookdown.local /Cherwell API. I have no proxy. I'm happy with this run as account, and I'm going to turn this on. We specify how frequently we're going to pull updates from Cherwell. 60 seconds is the default and also the minimum, but you can specify whatever you like. And you can choose what happens with alerts when incidents are resolved, essentially. And these are your options, essentially. Close alerts, reset unit monitors or reset all monitors, which is obviously the most. It will do all of the previous. So reset all monitors, which includes reset unit monitors and close alerts. So there you go. Obviously, we understand that you have to reset the monitors if you just specify close alerts. We won't attempt to close alerts from monitors. So I'm going to go with reset all monitors. The other thing you could do, that you need to do, is specify which state in Cherwell is the state that indicates the incident is closed. I'm going to pick resolved here. You can choose to set nothing there at all if you don't want that functionality. And I'm going to store my configuration in the Connection Center configuration management pack, which I created when I set my outbound notification connection up. And there's my summary. I'm going to hit finish. And what we'll see here we go, it's gone into the testing state. It's a new connection. Now, hopefully I've got my keys and all that and my URL correct, so I can see it return success. Let's just wait a minute for that to complete. Okay, it's gone green now, so that's good. Everything is working as it should. Good. I didn't mistype the URL or anything like that. Perfect. All right, so now we have an outbound connection to push SCOM alerts out. So we have an inbound connection to pull updates back. My outbound connection was set to push everything that's in a non-closed state, but it won't obviously go through and do all the historic alerts. So I'm going to go and kick one basically to make it go across. Though it looks like some have gone across from some other monitoring I have for a demo I did a while back on monitoring the London Underground. So there's some here with incident IDs that are in the new states that have bits of information that has come from Cherwell back here in these custom fields. So I can see that basically bidirectional sync is working as it should. But for the purposes of a demo, I'm going to push across this one. All I'm going to do is make a change to it. It's clearly a very old one. It's for a non-existent VM, or no longer existing VM. By making this change, the connector will pick it up and it will get pushed across. So we're going to now go into Cherwell. And in Cherwell, I'm going to have a look at incidents open today. So we can actually have a look at the incidents that are raised in here. And here it is. Look, this is the one I just pushed across. You can also see the London Underground ones I mentioned earlier. But this is the one I pushed across a second ago. So that was pretty quick. And if we drill into it, let's click on the link at the top. We can see what was set, basically. So I set this to be a P1 in my connector. We set all the fields like call source and customer. Obviously, you put in something more meaningful like SCOM, create a user for SCOM, than using your own name. But you get the idea of how this thing works. And obviously, you know, when this is closed off, then the SCOM alert is closed. So I'm going to close this incident off, and to do that I have to go through the states here in Cherwell. I have to start working on it by begin working, which requires I assign it to somebody. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to assign it to myself and hit save. Yes, I did raise it, and I'm also going to be resolving it, but that's okay. And then I will resolve it here, and it wants me to say what I did to resolve it. Reboot to VM, let's go with that. And okay, you get the idea, it's a demo. And then I want to select a closure code. So this incident is now resolved. So with bidirectional sync, we expect to see the SCOM alert get resolved as well. This is my SCOM alert. What I'm going to do is open Health Explorer so we can see that happen. Also, is this a monitor? What is this that raised it? This is a monitor, so this should be reset as well. Didn't actually check that before. So from looking at this, it looks like basically the monitor has reset, so the SCOM alert has closed, which is great. Obviously, because this VM is dead, it's coming back as unhealthy, which is what we can expect. But as you can see here, look, the alert has gone, so it's doing what it should. So that's good. So there we go. That's how the Cherwell integration works essentially. So it's very easy to configure. If you have multiple Cherwell instances, let's say you have a dev and a test or something, then you can set up multiple connections in here. We obviously recommend you can push obviously SCOM alerts to multiple Cherwell instances, but we recommend you only pull updates from one place, because otherwise you can get confusion happening, because there's only one incident ID field, for example, in SCOM. So you end up with which system did this come from, and potentially conflicts between multiple systems. But it's all kind of possible, so you can fully test it out in a non-production and then effectively disable by coming over here and going disable connection, your test Cherwell instance connection, and enabling your production one. So that's how Connection Center for Cherwell works. Just to highlight the capabilities of Connection Center at a really high level, focusing on Cherwell, we have integrations for all of these platforms. And down the left-hand side, you have all of the capabilities, all the things SCOM can do. And then we have the checkboxes by sort of what is sort of possible here. So you can see for Cherwell, we're handling currently alerts only, not yet the ability to schedule maintenance mode from within Cherwell. Though we're really interested in hearing from you if that's something you'd like to see. Also objects, no current ability to populate the CMDB in Cherwell as you do with ServiceNow. But again, let us know if that's something you'd like to see. If it is, we're happy to work with you to build out this table essentially with all the extra features you may need. Alright, all that's left to say is if you have liked what you've seen here, if you go to cookdown.com/Connection Center, you can take a trial, book a demo, or ask us anything about Connection Center in general or our Cherwell integration. Thank you for watching.